Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. I'm finally starting to feel much better. I'm still dealing with some pretty serious brain fog issues. I was actually dealing with some problems with almost like a depression after I had COVID. And but the depression part is going away, but I still have a hard time concentrating. So that's why it's been so long since I've done a video. Is every time I start something, I just can't seem to stay with it, and I just can't seem to think clearly. So if you guys have had that, I feel for you because it's just been terrible for me. I'm just not used to that, and I'm not used to going so long feeling that way. But again, I'm starting to feel a lot better. Still not quite myself. So once one video this week is all that I'm probably going to get out. I'm going to try my best to get back on track with them, but I may just have to kind of start slowly. And I appreciate so much those of you who have been praying. I felt your prayers, and I'm so grateful. Now, this little stand that I'm working on here, I think is just so sweet. And my good friend brought this to me, and I want to keep it. I haven't figured out where I can put it yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it over and give it kind of a cottagecore look. My daughter says she wants it for when she moves out, so we'll see how that goes if I can't find a place for it. But I'm definitely not going to sell this piece. And it has two little drawers there that go in the top, and she was so sweet to bring that extra drawer to me. She had only had one, and then or could only find one, but she located the other one and brought it back to me. So I am so grateful to my friend for this, and I am so excited to make this over. And I love the look of this piece and started to leave it like this. But then when I cleaned it up, I just decided that I might add some color to this one. I like to do that with smaller pieces because then you're not quite so limited. But this is the new Dixie Belle green called Weeping Willow. And I've been using this a lot. I just really like the look of it. So I gave this 2 coats of the color Weeping Willow, and then let that dry well. And then for the drawers, I painted them in the color Buttercream because I'm going to be doing some decoupage on them. Now, one of these little drawer pulls was painted, and the other one wasn't. And so I'm just going to go ahead and paint both of these that same color of Buttercream, because what I'm going to do is I kind of like the look of the brass. Brass is a little bit shiny. So what I decided to do was to use some bronze gilding wax on the knobs. And so I just kind of wanted a paint finish on them so that the gilding wax would take better. But here I've already painted the 2 of them in the color Buttercream, and now I'm going to decoupage some napkins on them. And I didn't mention that I painted the inside of the drawers and even down the sides in that same color of green, and the only thing that I painted in the Buttercream was the drawer fronts. And I'm using a napkin that I was gifted, so I'm not sure where to tell you to get these. I would assume Amazon. I can usually find most of the napkins that I'm gifted on there, but I haven't seen this one on there yet. So I'm just kind of placing this on the front, and once I get it smooth and let it dry, then I'll just take my little finger sander and sand around all the edges. Now I'm just kind of doing this haphazardly and letting kind of making a hole where the knob is, because I wasn't able to get that off. And once this is dry, any area that needs to be smoothed out, I did have a few wrinkles, then I just used my little finger sander on that, and it still looked just fine. And once this was finished, I finished it off with a clear coat. Now, I had this lamp in my stash, and I want to give this more of a cottage core look. So I'm going to paint this in the color Weeping Willow also, and finish it off with a clear finish. And then I'm going to decoupage a lampshade with that same napkin to go on top. I just liked how it looks so much with the little stand that I thought this would be a great place to add it. So I'm just very carefully gluing one layer with some matte finish Mod Podge to this, and then I'll go over it, go over the top. When you're decoupaging with napkin, you have to be very careful that you don't apply too much pressure and cause your napkin to tear. I did have that issue with the drawers and ended up having to redo one of them. So just be very careful with that. And so I'm just going to cut off most of the excess, and then once this dries well, then I can take my finger sander around the top edges and the bottom edges and give it a neater finish. And then again, I will finish this off with a top coat, and I just went ahead and used another coat of the Mod Podge. And I just really love how this lampshade finished this off. Now the next item that I'm going to do is the box you see there to the right. And I had added some stamping to it and some transfers to it at some point, but it just didn't sell. And I wasn't real crazy about the green that I used inside. I'm not sure why I chose that color. But I just took my sander and went over the whole thing, and then I'm going to go over it with 2 coats of the color Buttercream. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint the legs and the bottom in the same color. I probably could have gotten away with painting the inside a different color and the legs a different color and tried it like that, because I really liked the transfer that was on it, but I just kind of got in the mood to change it up completely. So I had some scrapbook paper that I cut to fit the bottom and the top and the inside of the lid. And I'm going to leave the inside in the color Buttercream and just cover that bottom and the lid. So now I'm going to apply a few of the black and white transfers from the set Buds and Branches, and that's Dixie Belle transfer. And I'm just going to add a few of those to the outside. I have some roses there on the scrapbook paper, and so I'm just kind of bringing that look to the outside without adding too much color. So once I add those, then I will finish this whole thing off with a clear matte spray. I hope that you guys haven't had to deal with this last COVID strain, because I think this one has been by far the worst for us. We've had it a couple times before, and my husband and I both got it. And we both got really sick with it as far as lots and lots of just horrible chest congestion that didn't want to go anywhere. And now it's loose, but still after about 3 weeks, I still have a lot of chest congestion. And but the worst part for me was that brain fog and almost like a depression. And I just hope that you guys will be really careful if you haven't gotten it yet. It's been all through our church. And I know some people even got sicker than we did. So, and for my husband, he's almost never sick. And this is the sickest that I've ever seen him. And after about a week, we actually started to feel a lot better. Even though the cough, it just lingers and lingers. But every time I would start to do a video, I just would lose my train of thought altogether. And the depression that I almost felt like I had was probably due to the fact that I wasn't sure if I would ever be able to create again. I just felt so not myself. So I'm glad that that's finally getting better. I'm still a little ways from being myself again, but at least I know that it's slowly going away. I had this little wooden bowl, this little white wooden bowl, and so I'm going to very carefully add one of these same transfers to this bowl. And with this one, because of the shape of the bowl, I'm just having to kind of snip here and there and just transfer this just a little bit at a time. And it won't be perfect, but it still worked out this way. So I just snipped a little and transferred that on, and then snipped a little bit more until I got this on. Now, I had this basket in my stash, and I wasn't real crazy about the kind of orangish look that it has, but it is well made, and it's kind of an older basket. So I'm going to paint this in the color Weeping Willow also, and I just ended up having to put one coat on it, and then I'll let it dry well. And then I finished this off with a white wax. So I thrifted these beautiful napkins, and I thought that they were very springy. So I'm going to make a couple of pillows. And if you've never made pillows with napkins, it's just a very quick, easy way. Usually the fabric is a good fabric for pillows. And so I'm going to fold this first one like an envelope, and then I'll stitch all the way around where I folded it, and then stuff it, and then to finish off the top, I'm just going to glue that down with some fabric glue, because I'll already have it stuffed at that point, and then it's going to be impossible to sew at that point, so I'm just going to stitch it with some fabric glue. So I've already taken it to the sewing machine here and stitched all around the edges. And now all I need to do is stuff it and then glue the flap down. So I've already done that here, and now I've glued that down with some fabric glue. And now I'm going to make a little shabby rose in the center there. So I just took some cotton fabric that I had ripped into a strip and tied a knot in the end of it, and now I'm just going to kind of twist it and glue it until I get the rose the size that I wanted. And for this larger pillow, I added a piece of lace there across the center, and then I sewed 2 of these napkins together. And now I'm going to add some shabby roses to this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.